Hello guys and welcome to my channel. My name is Jesper and on this channel here we're talking about skincare, haircare and all those sort of things that are supposed to make you look good for a really long time. And therefore we are going to talk a little bit about sunscreen, because sunscreen is something that is really important, and that is obviously because the sun will be damaging your skin and will make it look really old and aged if you don't really protect yourself against the sun. So today we are going to talk a little bit about some American sunscreens. So they are supposed to be new sunscreens here, and they are from a company called Sol de Janeiro, so something like January sun or something along those lines. And it is American sunscreen. So there is well, with American sunscreens, there is something called the FDA, and they control what sort of chemicals can be put into cosmetics and that sort of thing over there in America. And that means that with the sunscreens filters and that sort of thing, there's sort of like a little bit old-fashioned. So that means that if you're taking an American sunscreen, then you don't have these sort of modern filters. So what is then in these filters here, or these sunscreens? So what filters have they used? Well, and this one here, they've actually used zinc oxide, so that is a mineral sunscreen. And yes, you can use a mineral sunscreen, and it will maybe sometimes make you look a little bit white. But maybe Sol de Janeiro, they have made one that doesn't make you look white. So let's test that later on here. There is just a little thing, and that is when I looked, I couldn't find a product that was for the face. So I have this one here, and it is for the body. Then there is this one here, it's called Rio Radiance, and that is all a sort of a body oil. They are all SPF50, and then there is this spray one here, and that is also SPF50, but that is sort of like a body spray. So all these things here, they are meant to be put on the body. But obviously if you're putting something on the body, then as such you can use it on the face. But it's just a little bit like normally if you're using something that is created for the face. It's not as it's not so sticky, and it's not so oily and greasy and that sort of thing. So it's basically a little bit more of a refined sort of a product. But as such, you can use something like this on your face, and we will try that later, because here they don't have anything that is for the face. So when I went out and shopped for all this stuff here, then I couldn't find this one here, and it is called a body oil. So I asked, first of all, I couldn't really find these products at all in the shop. So I asked, where is it? And then she pointed me to a place, and then I went over and had a look, and I couldn't find this one here, because it turned out that it was actually still in the drawer, so they had not put it up, or it had been sold out, something like that. So when I asked for this one here, I tried to explain that it was sort of like a body oil, and then she went like, oh, bum oil? No, not bum oil, I thought. So I just explained that this was this sort of like an SPF body oil spray thing, or pump thing. And we'll come back to the pump thing later, because that is actually very important with some of these new rules from the EU. Now I am in England, so England is not, or the UK is obviously not in the EU anymore, so we're not under those sort of rules anymore. So the UK can actually make its own rules, so they have not really gone for those rules that will apply to chemical sunscreens in the EU in a couple of years, so kind of like in 2025 it is. So we are looking at these products here, and I would say this one here, yes, you would like to shake it up, and something like a mineral sunscreen you would like to shake up as well. But this one here is sort of like really rigid, so you can't really shake it up. And the first thing that happened was a little bit of some sort of oily stuff came out, but after that then it seemed to be really sort of like even in consistency. So just have a little look at it. It had this sort of very small nozzle. I thought that was really small, I don't know why. So you just kind of like take it out like this, and it is sort of like white as you would expect, but it has a sort of like a little bit of a yellowish, brownish, orangey sort of like hue, and I thought that maybe it was because they wanted to offset the zinc oxide color, so the white color, but I don't think it is. So we'll try this on my face later. So it's sort of like has sort of like a thick consistency, so that's sort of like good. And one of the things with the consistency is that basically there is something in this product here, and I've spoken about that before, and that is salicylates. And you wouldn't think that you would find a salicylate in a product like this, because this is a zinc oxide, so something like you don't have these organic filters in it, but still you have something like a Butyloctyl Salicylate. And the reason for that is that they would like the zinc oxides to be sort of like evenly distributed in the product, and that's why they're using a Butyloctyl Salicylate, and that is something that will help with distributing the zinc oxide evenly and that sort of thing. But still, it is a salicylate, and we have spoken about salicylates before, and there is that little thing about salicylates. They actually do become salicylic acid in the body, and that is something that is, at least in animal studies, been shown to be a hormone disruptor, and that is why we are not so keen on having these salicylates in the sunscreens or in products in general. So it's just to say that there is actually a salicylate in this one here, but obviously I assume there aren't that much in it, as if it was a filter. It is actually still an organic filter, which is not used as such, but in theory it basically is a UV filter still. So yes, they are using usually that sort of a chemical in zinc oxide sunscreens or titanium dioxide sunscreens. So here we have something else, and that is a spray. And there are a lot of salicylate in this stuff here. There is not a Homosalate, because Homosalate, they have actually added to this product here. And the thing about a Homosalate, that is something that the EU has banned, in the sense that if you are having something for the body, you cannot use a Homosalate in it if you are after, I think June, or I think it's June 2025, and that is because in something for the body they would only like to have about a half a percentage of it, and there some of it doesn't really make any sense to put it in, because it will not protect you against the sun with that low level. So it's sort of like been banned for body products, as I understand it, and instead they have allowed it to be used in something that is for the face. And the problem there is, of course, that the face, there you can have a higher amount of Homosalate, because the problem is that Homosalate is something that you don't want a lot of on your body. So if you're just putting it on your face, then you don't really have the problem with the Homosalate to such a big degree, and that's obviously because your body is a lot bigger than your face. So if you're just putting it on your face, you can get away with having a cream where there is a little bit more in it. So that they have actually said that is 7.34% that can be in it. But I would say that from what the EU have said about these things, I think I would just simply avoid Homosalate and salicylates in general, because if you can get another product, then why not take that product instead of having something with these salicylates in it. That is my opinion. So this product here contains various salicylates, and we can just have a little thing try this on. I tried it on my arm earlier, and I would say it's sort of like it's not greasy. It's sort of like if you just try a little bit here, you can see it's sort of like a spray, so it's like a fine mist. And one of the things is that this has a strong perfume actually. One of the things with this spray thing, that is something like if they were making a spray for the face, now this is for the body, but if they were making a spray for the face, then they would not be allowed to do that. If it was in the EU, it might be that they might be allowed to do that in America and still here in the UK. But if you are in the EU, then they will not be allowed to make a spray that is like with an aerosol or something like that. So you get it on your face. If it then you simply you cannot make it a product with Homosalate if it is a spray for the face. But you can make something that is for a pump spray. So a pump spray, that would be something like this, so a manual sort of like a spray, and then in a cream, then you can use 7.34% of Homosalate in such a product if it is for the face, but not if it is for the face and it is a spray like something like this, or an aerosol. I don't think this is an aerosol. This is something like a different sort of mechanism that gives this sort of a mist. So that's another thing. But if you just have a little look, then you can see it's maybe, if I just put it on the other side here, to begin with, it will be a little bit shiny. Yes, it will. But after a little while, you can maybe see here, it has sort of like a matte sort of look to it. And I will say that yes, something like this, you spray it on, and then you can obviously rub it in as well, and it gives a sort of like not an oily feel in the fingers or in the hands, but more like a sort of like dry oiliness, so like a powdery sort of like a feel, and so it doesn't really feel like you are greased up or something like that. But the thing is, something like this, it might be really easy to use, but you have really no idea how much you should put on in order to get the correct amount. That is really difficult with something like this. So I would say then rather use too much than too little. So we have spoken about how much you should use in previous videos, and it is here I have a 1 milliliter spoon. So I need for my face a little bit more than that. So I need a little bit of a top on this. I actually need 1.25 milliliter to go on my face, and obviously the amount I put on my face, you get a feeling of how that would feel on the skin, and you will need to have the same sort of feeling on the rest of your body. So when we are trying this thing outside later, then we can have a little bit an idea about how should your body look. It should look similar to how your face would look. So if we are looking at this Radiance SPF body oil thing, then we just try it on the other arm here. And again, I would say it gave this sort of like sort of feel of something that is oily, but still sort of like comes up as dry. So sort of like a dry, oily sort of feel. So just so this is obviously a pump. So you can, and now that I'm using my hands, well, some of it will go onto my hand. So that means that I'm simply taking some of it off. So just when I show, sometimes I put it on my face, you have to use your fingertips because you don't want it in your hands. I know I see a lot of people and they test sunscreens and then it just in your hands and like that, and then you just smear around and then smear it off and smear it off and smear it off, and oh, doesn't it look lovely? Well, it might, but you don't really have the correct amount on your face, so you won't be protected from the sun. So you have to be really careful with not taking it off again, basically. And again, with this pump here, yes, it might be a little bit easier to figure out how much you should put on, because you could maybe just take it off and then drip it into this spoon here. But with something like this, it will be really difficult. And again, it has this perfume. I would say it smells like some sort of like really sweet sort of a coconut-ish thing, and it is sort of like you might get a little bit used to it yourself if you are wearing it for a little while, but if you go around, people will notice it straight away, and it's a really strong sort of like smell. So now this starts here to be a little bit sort of like drying up, sort of like but it is supposed to be a little bit sort of like semi-shiny, give a sort of like controlled shine to the body. So yes, it starts to be a little bit sort of like it dries up, and after a little while I will say that it did actually dry up sort of like a relative for something that is a body oil. I felt that it was like, okay, it's not super greasy, but it's still sort of like you can feel it a little bit, but it's sort of like and I can feel that in my hands now, that this starts to be sort of like dry-ish to the touch, like if I add some sort of powder to my hands or something like that. So I wouldn't say it's not super overwhelmingly greasy in any way. I wouldn't say that, but still, it is an American product. It contains Homosalate, and how much does it contain? Well, the thing is that with the American sunscreens, then you can actually use a Homosalate up to 15%, but something like octocrylene you can only use 10% of. So there we know that this is an American product, and when you look at the ingredients list, then octocrylene is listed above Homosalate, and that means that when we know you can only have 10% of octocrylene in it, then you can, obviously, when you look in the ingredients list and Homosalate is below there, then you know there is no more than 10% of it in there, and that should be really clear, because if there was more, it was not possible to sell it here in the UK. So yes, I would say it's old-fashioned sunscreens, but that is because it is an American product. So now if we are trying this one here, so this zinc oxide, and we will take the correct amount, and that will be a little bit more than a spoon like this. So we'll go like this. Maybe you can see that it has a sort of like it's an off sort of whitish color, and I need a bit more than this. So a little bit of a top. I think this is, if this flattens out, it will be only just 1 milliliter. So a little bit more, like that. So sort of like this amount here, and that will be about 1.25 milliliter, and that is for my face. But that would be for the neck as well. But I usually just put it on my face. I know I should put it on my neck as well, and I might do that if I go to the beach, or if it's really hot summer I will be out all day long. But I just normally in the winter time I just put 1 milliliter on my face. So here, as I said before, I have to be careful that I don't smear it all over my hands, because you don't want to do that, because then you won't get the protection that you're thinking that you are having. So now, this is not meant for the face, I know, but when I put this on, you get a feeling of how will it look when I put the correct amount on a piece of skin of this sort of size. So that will be how your body will have to look if you're putting the correct amount on it. So here we go. Voila, like that. And I don't have any sort of like cream on. I basically just washed my face, and then I just haven't put anything on, because I knew I had to try this stuff here. So I didn't want to put any sort of like cream underneath, because this stuff here can be really, you don't want too much cream underneath, because you've got to be fully oily, and you don't want that. So I'll put this stuff on here. Yes, and it has a sort of like perfumish, and I thought like, yes, well, I could do without it, and you sort of like get used to it, but it is a little bit like sweet coconut stuff, and I think that other people, they will definitely notice it. They will smell you maybe before they actually see you. So like that. So I think it is obvious that I will become rather white in the face now, and yeah, I mean, this is sort of like, I could smear and smear and smear this stuff into my skin, and it will be maybe a little bit better, but I can't just go like with my whole hand and then just smear it off, because as I said before, then you don't get the correct amount on your skin. So now, this is something that you can maybe use it on the beach, but I think that on a daily basis, this is not something you can use on your face, and it is not meant for the face, I know that. But it is basically just a mineral sunscreen. So like that. And yes, it is easy to smear around. But and yes, I need to put it on my neck as well, so you can see a little bit of it down there. But yes, I would say that when I looked in the mirror earlier in daylight, it's just like, I wouldn't be able to go anywhere looking like this. And I'm pretty sure that if you have a darker skin tone than I have, then it will be visible rather a lot. And if you go to Brazil and want to have a lovely tan, and then you put this stuff on, I'm pretty sure it will be rather visible. So I would say this stuff here isn't much different from any other sort of like zinc oxide sunscreen. So yes, we try and massage this stuff into the skin and not off the skin. And yes, it is oily, as you would expect from something like this. Yeah. Well, so the point here is that you will look white in the face. And this sort of look is the look you should have on the rest of your body if you are putting it on your body. So if you don't look like this on your body when you have used this product here, most likely you have used not enough. So yeah, that was my little verdict on this stuff here. I would say, yes, I do understand that it is American sunscreens, and there are some limitations as to what they can use, but I would think that if you are in Europe and in the UK, then I would think twice about buying American sunscreens, because they do contain these old-fashioned filters. So I would say definitely go for something that is a European sunscreen instead. So yes, that was my little verdict here. I would say something like salicylates, try and avoid that, because it will turn into salicylic acid in the body, and that has in animal studies been shown to be a hormone disruptor, and that is why the EU is a little bit cautious about how much can be used. And it might be that in the future completely be, maybe, I don't know, but I could imagine that it might simply be banned. But yes, that was my little verdict. This I would say costs relatively a lot. To buy all these 3 products is a bit expensive, I would say. So yes, I have tried it, so you don't have to. So yes, those were the words. If you'd like to see more of this sort of videos, please subscribe, hit the bell, and do all the things you're doing so you can be notified when I upload more of this sort of videos. Thank you for watching. See you. Bye.